the outset, I wish to convey my deepest condolences to the Speaker and yourselves, members of Parliament, to all members of this House and the people of Zambia for the passing of an Honorable Amusa Mwanamwabwa, excuse my pronunciation, former Speaker of Zambia National Assembly and one of great sons of this land. He was a frequent visitor to Tanzania and made many good friends there. Our hearts go out to his family. May the Lord grant them the fortitude to bear this loss. We pray that his soul rest in eternal peace. I'm here in Zambia at the invitation of His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema. My stay in Zambia has been remarkable, and the hospitality has been exceptional. I cautioned my President Hichilema that with this kind of treatment, I might be knocking the doors in Zambia now and then. After all, to us, Zambia is also home. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'd like to congratulate all the honorable members of this House for being entrusted to be the voices of the Zambian people. In my career, I had the honor to represent constituencies, first in the House of Representatives of Zanzibar and later in the Parliament of the United Republic of Tanzania. It is a special privilege and responsibility, and one which is also of key importance in the relations between our two countries. This is a point I'll return to before I conclude. For now, it will be remiss of me if I didn't salute you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for being the, Madam Speaker for that matter, for being the first female speaker in the history of Zambia. My election to the speakership is testament of her commitment and dedication to the public service and the confidence her peers have in her leadership. But let me add this. These attributes have also been recognized in the region and beyond. Just this September, you were awarded by your global peers the distinguished title of the Commonwealth Parliamentarian of the Year 2023. As such, we also commend you for the remarkable job you are doing. Congratulations. Madam Deputy Speaker, thank you for inviting me to address this August Assembly, and I note with gratitude that under your able leadership, I'm the first female head of state to join the list of foreign dignitaries who have addressed this August House. I am humbled. Madam Deputy Speaker, honorable members, distinguished guests, the relations between our two countries was solidified by the late Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and Mwazi Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, our founding fathers. Their closeness made us understand the close ties we share with the Zambian people. In Tanzania, we adore President Kaunda. So much so that we got carried away with his style and attire, which left a lasting impression in the form of Kaunda suit. Today, the Kaunda suit is an official dress in Tanzania and recognized as so even by our parliament. To us, the style and attire mean many things. It conveyed pride in our freedom, it spoke to our working class roots, and our ties to the soil, for liberation of Southern Africa. This is a legacy and noble heritage that we should endeavor to protect. I'm happy to note that the closeness and bonds between our two countries have endured. Across our borders, the links between our countries have grown in many respects. On land, we are linked by the Tanzam Highway and by the Tazara Railway. Underground, we are linked by the Tazama oil pipeline. Above the surface, we are linked in two respects: the power transmission lines linking East African Power Pool and the Southern African Power Pool, and also by air Tanzania passenger planes, and soon cargo flights. With all this in mind, going forward, I can only say, tiende pamoja. Ujamaa. Madam Deputy Speaker, globally, the COVID-19 pandemic and the world insecurity impacted growth prospects, disrupted supply chains, and increased inflation risks, with sharp rises in oil and food prices. As a result, our countries have had to respond to these global developments. I wish to note the commendable and bold reforms and measures President HH has embarked on. These responses by our countries require steadfast support from the people. In addition, tackling these challenges also requires cooperation and partnership between friends. This was the spirit of my discussion with my brother, President Hichilema. We resolved to work together in response of these challenges. I've therefore come to Zambia to cement our intention to work together with Zambia for a brighter future. If I can sum up, my main message on this visit, it will be cementing economic solidarity. Madam Deputy Speaker, the historic Tazara Railway can bring tremendous prosperity if utilized fully. When fully operational, Tazara can carry 5 million metric tons of cargo. However, last year records indicate that the railway only used 4% of its capacity to carry 210,000 metric tons. Clearly, more work needs to be done to utilize Tazara's full capacity. On the other hand, the Tazara's capacity to carry 3 million people per year is dwarfed by the reality that even at its peak, a maximum of 564,000 people were carried. Our two governments are aware of the importance of Tazara to our economies. Joint efforts will be required to resolve the challenges Tazara faces. Joint initiatives will also be needed to facilitate leasing and mobilization of resources for innovations. The same holds for Tanzania-Zambia Mafuta pipeline, Tazama. Expanding Tazama pipeline is key for Zambia's energy security, and we commit to doing so jointly. We will factor in all necessary considerations, including environmental and security ones, among others. As for the Tanzania-Zambia highway, Tanzam, linking our two countries, has some patches that need major upgrades. Tanzania is ready to embark on joint resources mobilization efforts with Zambia to finance upgrades of this important infrastructure to further facilitate trade and reduce trade costs. Madam Deputy Speaker, parliamentarians play a key role in fostering bilateral relations. The good intents of our two governments require solid backing of our respective parliaments if they are to bring about the intended outcomes. Members of Parliament represent the people and engage in debates about government plans, budgets, and programs. These plans require political backing or funding, which means parliamentary approval is crucial. If MPs are unconvinced or politicize these plans, it hampers progress, impacting both Tanzanians and Zambians. The feedback we are getting from the people living along our shared border is that the existing legal framework could be friendlier to business and trade if we do not politicize these frameworks. As such, when our governments present informed and outward-looking proposals to address these non-tariff barriers raised by our people, we'll come here to seek your support to solve these impediments. In the same vein, Madam Deputy Speaker, in the near future, our bilateral initiatives may result in renovating existing shared infrastructure or constructing the new one or the new projects. These projects will certainly pass through your respective constituencies. As members of Parliament, your role is key to ensuring that these projects materialize. Your role is also important to get the community support to better guarantee the sustainability of these infrastructure projects. It is for these reasons that this House plays a key role in our relations. Madam Deputy Speaker, the volume of trade between Tanzania and Zambia and goods from Dar es Salaam transiting Zambia is increasing considerably, given the potential for further trade growth between our countries. We made deliberate efforts to increase efficiency at the Dar es Salaam port. First, we designated an area of Kuala dry port, and my government has allocated 20 hectares of land for consignment this time for Zambia. The dry port will facilitate longer pre-storage periods up to 45 days from the current 15 days at Dar es Salaam port. Second, we developed the Tanzania electronic single window system that will enhance efficiency in processing documentation. Third, we are finalizing review of our port tariff book that will set an ecosystem of charging wharfage by $3 United States per tonnage or cubic meter. Madam Deputy Speaker, in addition to these efforts, just recently, we entered into agreement with the Dubai port company to operate a part of our Dar es Salaam port. As such, we expected to see more transformative changes in terms of improved efficiency, reduced ship turnaround times, reduced CIF costs, and overall lowering of the cost for users of the port. This is an opportunity for our Zambian brothers and sisters. I hope you will not miss in action. Madam Deputy Speaker, Tunduma-Nakonde border is a crucial border for trade between Tanzania and Zambia. During our discussion, President Hichilema and myself set in motion measures to address bottlenecks that exist in the movement of goods and people along the border. As we discussed, removing bureaucratic impediments is necessary for the two countries to enjoy the benefits of trade. I'm also happy to inform this August Assembly that Tanzania is ready to support the construction of a new Kasesia-Zombe border or border post to ease the movement of people and goods. Additionally, I want to assure you that Tanzania is prepared to further facilitate the free movement of people between our two countries by extending the visa-free entry period from the 90 days to 180 days. Madam Deputy Speaker, as I wind up, it is evident that our government have done a lot of work in fostering trade between our two countries. However, like many of us, I believe there's still much to be done to make our economic potential match our political relations. Earlier on, I mentioned the important role of this Parliament in fostering the relations between our two countries. Here, I wish to make appeal to the honorable members of this August Assembly. To the honorable members of this Assembly, I call upon you to transmit my message of solidarity to the brotherly people of Zambia and our rally to them saying Tiende Pamoja. Yeah. I call on you to transmit my invitation to Zambians to trade with Tanzania and to give them this message of the transformations underway in Tanzania to ease movements of further facilitate trade. I call on you to continue to voice the concerns of challenges of Zambians trading in Tanzania and to bring their concerns to us so that our two governments can swiftly table discussion and address any concerns. I call on you, honorable members, to continue to urge the people of Zambia to support the various joint projects being undertaken for further link of our countries. In doing so, it is important to impress upon them that these are their projects, done for their benefits, and they have role in protecting them. I call on you to support the various initiatives being undertaken to promote trade and investment between our two countries, including by passing the necessary legislation to support these projects, most notably the Tanzania-Zambia Railway Act. I call on you to enhance cooperation with your peers in the National Assembly of Tanzania, including undertaking exchange visits in areas of mutual interest. And I was proposing to Madam Deputy Speaker that the next trip you should visit Zanzibar, the other part of Tanzania. Yeah. Lastly, I call on you, honorable members, to continue bringing our two countries and people even closer together. Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to assure you Tanzania will continue to play its role in fostering and facilitating regional prosperity, peace and stability. I strongly believe through these intentions and noble and deliberate actions, we can honor the legacy of our forefathers. We will continue to show solidarity and not, I assure you of my unwavering commitment and that of the government of the United Republic of Tanzania to continue working closely with His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema and the government of the Republic of Zambia for the mutual benefit of our peoples. I wish to impress upon you that my presence here today in the esteemed August House and my engagement with the honorable members speaks volume about this very commitment. May God bless Tanzania and Zambia. May God bless Africa. Sante sana, zikomo kwa mbele.
land of work and joy in unity. Victors in the struggle for their rights. We've won freedom's fight. All one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God's good hand. Let us call our people, join as one, brothers under the sun. All one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace need Zambia's sky. Like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God. Praise we. Bless our great nation. Zambia, Zambia. Free men we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee. Oh, one, strong and free.
Thank you very much. We will ride on the prayers that were said this morning at the official opening. We may now be seated. Your attention, please, as we welcome the presidents. The President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. President, welcome. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, karibu sana. The Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Honorable Chipoka Mlenga, MP. Minister of Industry, Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Ashatu Kijaji. Cabinet Ministers present. Senior government officials present. Permanent secretaries present. Members of the Zambia Development Agency. Members of the Tanzania Private Sector Development Foundation. Members of the Zambia Chamber of Commerce, captains of industry and heads of public sector and private sector organizations, media present, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to the Tiende Pamozi Scaling Up Trade and Investment Forum between Zambia and Tanzania. My name is Rose Sibisi, an independent media program director engaged by the Zambia Development Agency to direct the proceedings of today's significant business forum. Mr. President and Your Excellency, The forum convened this morning with business-to-business sessions with the aim of facilitating synergies between Zambian and Tanzanian business investment companies. The afternoon session was comprised of opening remarks by President of the Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Anthony Kabaye. Opening remarks by Tanzania Private Sector Foundation Board Member, Mr. Kalpesh Mehta. Presentation on business climate and business opportunities in Zambia by the Director General, Zambia Development Agency, Mr. Albert Halwampa. There was a presentation on business climate and business opportunities in Tanzania and Zanzibar by the Executive Director, Tanzania Investment Center, represented by Mr. Alhaji Jecha. Mr. President, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the afternoon ended with a panel discussion session under the theme, Enhancing Trade and Investment between Tanzania and Zambia, with panelists from Ministry of Industry Tanzania, Tanzania Investment Center, Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry Zambia, and the Trade Kings Group. We are pleased to have you join us, Mr. President and Your Excellency, and your distinguished delegation to take us through the last part of the program today. At this point, I have the pleasure of inviting the CEO, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, Mr. Raphael Maganga, and President of the Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Anthony Kabaye, to give us private sector remarks on the joint resolutions and recommendations from the Business Forum that was deliberated today. Mr. Kabaye and Mr. Maganga, please.
Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia, all ministers present, DG Zambia Development Authority, President of Zambia Chamber of Commerce, business executives, media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Your Excellencies, first and foremost, allow me to express our heartfelt gratitude to both of you for gracing this Zambia-Tanzania Business Forum 2023, themed Scaling Trade and Investment between Tanzania and Zambia. Your presence here is a testament to the unwavering commitment to the private sector in fostering trade and investment between our two countries. Your Excellencies, from the majestic peaks of the Kilimanjaro to the sweeping plains of Zambia, from the iconic Serengeti where the lions roam and the wildebeest race, to the picturesque landscape of Zanzibar and the awe-inspiring beauty of the mighty Zambezi River as it flows into the magnificent Victoria Falls, all these elements tell us a story of which we share between our two nations in uniting across the lands. We extend our sincere appreciation to our host, the Zambia Development Authority, for its steadfast support on bringing this forum to life. The organization of the Business Forum has been made possible through the remarkable collaboration between the private sector and the government. Your Excellencies, despite the challenges brought about by the global pandemic, we have witnessed the resilience of bilateral trade supported by strong growth in agriculture sector, manufacturing, transport and logistics sector, as well as the mining sector. And on behalf of the Tanzania private sector, we commend our two governments for their exemplary policy direction and commitment to creating enabling business environment and trade and investment, all of which have contributed to this outstanding recovery. Zambia and Tanzania have shared deep-rooted historical bonds which with our bilateral relation firmly grounded in the shared history of our liberation struggle. Now, in the 21st century, we are in the process of liberating our economies, a feat that necessitates the close collaboration between the private sector and the government. And 6 key questions do come into mind. How do we remain competitive in a post-pandemic era? And how do we safeguard our economies from the global shocks? How do we sustain our economic growth to remain one of the fastest growing economies in Africa? How are the businesses factoring the impact of climate change and making it sustainable? How are positioning and taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area? And finally, how are our food systems ensuring that we become a food basket for Africa? Your Excellencies, we note that both our countries are guided by the Tanzania Development Vision 2030 and the Zambia Vision 2030, which all are to attain a prosperous middle-income nation by 2030. And to answer these questions, Your Excellency, our private sector from both countries convened earlier and resolved to the following. 1, on the Continental Free Trade Area, we recognize the potential of the 1.3 billion people marketplace, and we have resolved to strengthen our policies to fully take advantage of its benefits. Number 2, to collaborate with the private sector and developing key strategic infrastructures and highways linking our great countries such as the Trans-African Highway and the North-South corridors. Number 3, both countries have made tremendous progress in the agriculture sector, and we recognize the potential to become one of the food baskets for Africa. Our policies, therefore, must be stable, predictable, and facilitative in fostering collaboration. Together, Tanzania and Zambia can feed Africa and indeed can feed the world. Number 4, to strategically use our corridors from the Dar es Salaam port all the way to Zambia, making it one of the most efficient corridors to ensure our competitiveness in the region. Number 5 is to strengthen the border agency collaboration and integration of systems which are critical in operational efficiency, facilitating legitimate trade and reducing trade costs across borders, hence enhancing revenues much needed by the government. Number 6 is to have predictable policies that ensure stable business environment that will continue to stimulate the private sector growth. And number 7 was on the joint permanent commissions and the bilateral meetings, which need to be sitting more regularly and strengthen its decision-making mechanisms, will enable to resolve a lot of the non-tariff barriers. Your Excellencies, to further strengthen the bonds, Tanzania Investment Center have signed several MOU that promise increased collaboration. And today we will witness the signing of the MOU between the Zanzibar Development Agency and the Tanzania Investment Center for the cooperation of investment promotion and facilitation, which includes exchange of investment-related information. The MOU, amongst others, will lay down mechanism and modalities of cooperation can unlock immense potential and drive prosperity for our people. Let us move forward with determination and shared vision for a brighter future together. Asanteni sana, thank you.
Your Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, High Excellency, Dr. Samia Hassan, President of the Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers present, may I simply say all protocols observed. My colleague has elaborately talked about how we came up with those resolutions, and I'll go straight into our main resolutions from the business meeting we had this morning or this afternoon. The first one is fostering the quality of goods and services traded between the two countries. The two countries must not only export and import at the expense of quality. Number 2, modernization of TAZARA is key, Your Excellency, and must be realized as soon as possible. Number 3, Advantage of the Dar corridor being the shortest distance from Zambia to the coast, to be leveraged by the Zambian business community. Number 4, Tazara railways transport is strategic owing to 1, capability to move bulk and heavy cargo cost effectively and efficiently. Decongestion of the roads, interconnectivity of SADC to the East African community, increased capacity of the Dar port, capacity to 30 metric tons by 2030, 20 million metric tons by 2030. The two countries to enhance dialogue through various platforms provided. We have platforms like the PPDF, the PDU, that's the Presidential Delivery Unit. Those are the two platforms, Your Excellency, that we resolved the two countries to enhance their dialogue through. There is the digitalization of clearing systems at border posts and ensure pre-clearance of goods that do not need to be subjected to physical inspection. Or presentation of pronouncements with respect to establishment of non-stop border posts from one-stop border posts to reduce the lead time and transit time and avoid perishable excellences, one-stop shop at the border. We need that single window processing, one-stop shop at the border. Relaxation in excise duties to allow mutual trade. Lastly, Your Excellencies, standardization of compliance standards between Zambia and Tanzania. So that is standardization of compliance standards between Zambia and Tanzania. That's the last resolution that I have with me. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. I submit.
Another round of appreciation for the private sector remarks from CEO, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation and Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I now have the pleasure of inviting the Minister of Industry and Trade, Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Ashatu Kijaji.
Your Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Honorable Chipoka Mulenga, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Republic of Zambia, Honorable Ministers here present, Your Excellency Lieutenant General Matthew Edward Mkingule, High Commissioner of the United Republic of Tanzania to Zambia, Your Excellency Matthew Jere, High Commissioner of the Republic of Zambia to Tanzania, Permanent and Principal Secretaries here present, business community, private sector representatives, good evening. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Your Excellencies, foremost, I take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God who gives us his blessings and permission to be here today. Your Excellency, much, and we are very happy that you are both here with us to cement our mutual long-standing relationship for the betterment of our people. This demonstrates your high commitment and support to a long-existing cordial relationship reflected by the bilateral strategic partnership, which plays a central role in the development of our countries. Once again, thank you so much, Your Excellencies. Strategic resource complement. Indeed, we have many opportunities in our two dear nations in the areas of agriculture, mining, trade, and logistics, including transportation, just to mention a few. Therefore, if we continue working together with our available resources in a win-win condition, surely we will further enhance economic growth within and between our countries. Your Excellencies, trade has been one of the strongest pillars for our bilateral relations by promoting social interaction, economic growth, and stimulating production between our two countries. Countries that are open to trade tend to grow faster, innovate, improve productivity, and provide higher income and more opportunities to their people. Also, emanated opportunities from trade do benefit the lower income households by offering consumers affordable and quality goods and services. For all this to happen through trade, we need to ensure that the set rules and procedures are followed in order to build trust among trading countries and between trading communities. Your Excellencies, as we all know, the world is changing very fast, including the way we trade. Globally, most of the trade is no longer done manually but electronically. E-commerce is growing very fast due to rapid development of the information and communication technology. In all these developments, we need to make sure that we are not left behind. We need to start taking actions and cooperate more than ever before in reaping the benefits of these rapid changing ways of doing business in order to reduce the transaction costs for our business entities and fasten movement of goods and services between our two countries.